It's the 31st of January, 1943. Louisiana Cajun First Lieutenant Jefferson J. DeBlanc leads 8 Wildcats from Marine Fighter Attack Squadron 112 above the Japanese-held Kolombangara Island.
Dropping the tanks.
Roger that. Tanks dropped.
20 minutes into the escort flight, a call comes over the radio.
Mayday, mayday. Lieutenant, I'm registering a faulty engine here. I'm losing altitude. This doesn't look good. I'm gonna turn her around and head back to base.
DeBlanc grits his teeth.
Roger.
Another plane reports in.
Emergency. Request to turn back. Fuel pressure gauge malfunction. See you at the base.
Oh, hell. Roger.
There are now only 6 fighters left to accompany the strike force.
Hey, wingman, you ain't turning back, are ya?
Not yet. But I gotta tell you, my Wildcat's feeling a little rickety.
You know out of every 20 planes, only 2 meet flight standards? To hell with the damn fuel gauge. We need all the guns we can get in case the Zeros come. Speak of the devil, now my fuel gauge is acting up. This can only mean one thing. It's a leak. Looks like my impatient virgin is running out of patience.
And there's no shame in turning back.
Turn back? I ain't no yellow-bellied bobcat. If this is a one-way ticket, then so be it.
We got no choice anyway. I see the Japanese fleet.
Let's go, gentlemen.
As the 6 Wildcats and 12 Dauntlesses approach the target, the dive bombers commence the assault. Japanese anti-aircraft guns immediately spring to action and pepper the sky like a meteor shower. The Japanese hurry to get their Mitsubishi Peep float planes launched to defend against the blistering attack.
Jim, we got 2 peaks just below and a tail chase pattern going after our dive bombers. You ready to go hog wild?
Lead the way, you crazy Cajun.
Remember the gumbo!
DeBlanc and his wingman, Sergeant Jim Feliton, immediately dive their Wildcats to disrupt the float plane attack. In the swirling dogfight, a rear gunner on one of the Peets manages to get DeBlanc in his sights and sends forth a hailstorm of fire. DeBlanc pulls hard and dodges the bullets in his leaky Wildcat, and then maneuvers into fighting position. Getting behind the Peet, he lets loose with explosive .50 caliber fire. He sends the plane down in a spiral of flames. He then sets his sights on the lead fighter. The .50 caliber gun on the impatient Virgin rings out like thunder, and the Mitsubishi is reduced to a billowing fireball. With the Japanese assault single-handedly neutralized by First Lieutenant DeBlanc, the Dauntless dive bombers are able to carry out their attack, and the escort fighters begin to turn back.
Nice shooting, DeBlanc. How's your fuel?
Lower than a squirrel's pecker, Jim. That doesn't matter now. These Wildcats are our only chance against the Zeros.
Relax, Lieutenant. We're all clear. Nothing except clouds. Looks like we're lucky today.
With daylight fading, the Americans make their way back to base. Little do they know, this is just the beginning. Silhouetted against the setting sun, a huge swarm of Japanese fighters are on the move, heading straight at them. The dreaded call of
Zeros
rings out. In reality, it's 10 Nakajima Oscars with one thing on their mind: seek and destroy.
You seeing this, DeBlanc?
I'm seeing it all right, like bats out of hell.
What's your move?
Only one thing to do, Jim. Follow my lead.
In typical DeBlanc fashion, he goes right for the enemy. The Japanese are caught off guard as DeBlanc and his wingman climb swiftly, surprising them from below. They single out the lead fighter, and DeBlanc moves into position and fires straight into the Oscar. The Nakajima is hit and spins wildly out of control. DeBlanc then turns towards the lead wingman and unleashes withering .50 caliber rounds, watching as the Oscar explodes midair.
And now you really made them mad.
Good.
The rest of the Japanese fighters break off their attack on the Dauntlesses, as they pay all attention now on the Wildcats. Specifically, DeBlanc. The Japanese rush forward with revenge in their eyes.
Thatch weave, Jim.
Turning.
DeBlanc and his wingman employ a defensive scissor weave to evade the onslaught.
Take that.
It's working.
Yeah!
Don't go too wide, Jim. You're gonna get clipped.
Damn it.
Jim, They're on you!
Damn it!
A Japanese plane gets a Wildcat in its sights and lets loose. Sergeant Feliton's Wildcat is sprayed with enemy fire. Black smoke engulfs his plane, and it goes down.
Jim!
DeBlanc sees his friend's plane disappear below, with
Jim!
smoke streaming from it.
Jim?
But he has little time for concern for his friend, as he's still in the thick of it. DeBlanc's plane narrowly weaves through the Japanese arc of fire. When an unseen Oscar surges up out of nowhere, lining up DeBlanc's Wildcat in his crosshairs. With no time to maneuver, no wingman to help, DeBlanc's chances look poor.
You think you got me licked? Come and get it, son!
The Japanese pilot glares at his target and is set to fire. Suddenly his eyes grow big. A blistering roar shoots over DeBlanc's head. It's a Wildcat. The stunned Oscar frantically dives away. DeBlanc's life is saved, for the moment.
Whoa, that was close. You boys took your time.
The squadron of Wildcats try to disengage and return back with the Dauntlesses, but the Japanese have other plans. DeBlanc spots two more Oscars climbing towards the convoy in the twilight. He looks at what little fuel remains and has a choice to make. Continue on to home, or turn to face the pursuing Oscars. DeBlanc turns his faltering Wildcat to meet them head-on. One of the Japanese veers off into another engagement, but one keeps heading straight for DeBlanc. The two fighters speed towards each other in reckless abandon, unleashing all the machine gun hellfire their planes can muster. As bullets whiz by, DeBlanc masterfully evades the incoming fire, and the impatient Virgin's deadly accuracy wins the day. But the flaming Oscar is still in the air, still on the move, and still heading straight for Lieutenant DeBlanc.
What in the...
A ghostly apparition of twisted metal and liquid hot fire is still gunning for DeBlanc. The brave Japanese pilot is carrying on his attack. DeBlanc races ahead, keeping up the devastating fire, and the 50 cal rounds shred the lightweight Nakajima as the two combatants' eyes briefly meet. The second Japanese fighter now re-enters the fray and manages to get behind DeBlanc. DeBlanc checks his six and grins.
I call this one the gator roll.
DeBlanc abruptly yanks up on the control, forcing the enemy to overshoot him. This maverick maneuver gives DeBlanc the drop on the Oscar, and with one clear shot, he takes down his fifth Japanese plane of the day. It's now 6 p.m, but the action isn't over. An undetected fighter lurking below the melee surprises DeBlanc. Japanese rounds strike his bruised and beaten Wildcat, ripping off his wristwatch, tearing away at his pants, smashing the instrument panel, and most dangerously, setting fire to the engine.
Aw, hell, here we go again!
For the second time in 2 days, he's no choice but to bail out of his Wildcat and parachute into contested waters. He floats over the Vela Gulf, in between the islands of Kolombangara and Vela La Vela. Only 5 minutes have elapsed from when he arrived at the battle. 5 minutes in which he has shot down 5 enemy planes. From the air, he seems the Japanese-controlled Munda airfield, which looks deserted. But the faint hum of engines in the air rattles him. He remembers that parachuting Americans are a favorite target for marauding Japanese fighters.
I'll do exactly what the possums would do.
As Japanese planes approach, he pretends to be dead while drifting down to the waters below. A fighter circles him, eyeing the seemingly dead pilot carefully. Sweat runs down DeBlanc's brow as the fighter circles again, checking for any signs of life. But ultimately falls for the trick. DeBlanc peeks out of one eye, and breathes a sigh of relief before splashing down in the dark Gulf. Once in the water, DeBlanc takes account of his situation. The last dogfight has left him wounded by shrapnel in the arms and legs. His pistol and much of the survival gear was lost during the jump, and he's in enemy waters. Enemy meaning both the Japanese and the sharks. He pulls out chlorine pills from his shirt pocket to use as shark repellent and begins the treacherous nighttime swim to shore. Breaking open a chlorine pill every 15 minutes, DeBlanc struggles to make headway. The current is strong and keeps dragging the wounded pilot back out to sea. 6 grueling hours later, he finally reaches land on the Japanese-held island of Kolombangara. DeBlanc is so exhausted from the ordeal, he immediately passes out. Awakened by morning raindrops, the aching Marine enjoys a breakfast of rainwater and a piece of concentrated chocolate. He dresses his wounds as best he can and heads east towards a huge volcanic crater. Luckily, his large shark knife is salvaged from the survival kit, and he uses it to get through the undergrowth. DeBlanc's plan is to locate an airfield and, if possible, find a plane to fly back to base. But he's deep in enemy territory and unfamiliar in jungle terrain. All day he treks through the thick jungle mangroves, passing over various animal tracks. But there's no signs of civilization. He sleeps in the trees that night, assembling a makeshift hammock between 2 branches, keeping one eye open for any sign of Japanese or jaguars. The next day, DeBlanc spots an overgrown trail and follows it. His trusty knife blazes the path until a clearing opens up. His tired, starving eyes then behold what looks to be paradise. There are coconut trees, colourful birds singing, a flowing stream, and a single grass hut in the middle. He notices footprints on the banks of the stream and winces with the realization he's not alone.
Wonder if the natives here are friendly, not headhunters.
DeBlanc puts that creepy thought out of his mind and gets to work gathering coconuts, fresh water, and firewood. He sleeps in the hut that night as the wild jungle sounds fill the air. He awakens the next morning to a shuffling sound outside the hut. Grabbing his knife, he sneaks out of the hut to see a small native man staring right back at him. He's holding a bolo knife, and DeBlanc later said he wondered if he was about to be rescued or eaten for breakfast. 6 more natives emerged from the jungle.
Amerikano, mukha siyang nawawalat ng hihina. Dapat siguro ikulong natin siya para ligtas siya mula sa mga jaguar na baka tangkayin siyang gawing hapunan.
All right, folks. You got me. I'm your guest, and you're being mighty friendly hosts, ain't ya?
They lead DeBlanc along the trail to a village hidden amongst the dense jungle foliage. DeBlanc is put into a bamboo cage guarded by 2 men.
Huwag kang mag-alala. Ligtas ka dito.
His knife is taken away as the tribe discuss what to do with him.
Hayaan niyo siyang matulog sa aking kubo, pinuno.
Natatakot ako na baka tumakas siya papunta sa gubat. Sa tingin ko, mas mabuti na manatili siya para sa kanyang sariling kaligtasan. Bukas ay dadalhin siya ng mga kasama natin pabalik sa mga Amerikano.
In DeBlanc's mind, he returned to the dark thoughts of
I hope they aren't wondering what temperature to cook me up at.
night in the cage was terrifying. Nightmares kept hunting DeBlanc, with pictures of burning fire and sounds of rumbling drums. It seems as if the natives are dancing around the cauldron in a ritual dance and inviting him to join. All night he tosses and turns, waking up to the sounds of the jungle, but he sees only an empty village. Exhausted, he falls again into a deep sleep, where he dances wild dances with the islanders. At dawn, after that harrowing night, the bamboo cage looked bleak for Jefferson J. DeBlanc. A new group of islanders enters the village. One of them approaches DeBlanc's cage and speaks to him in broken English.
We here rescue you. Yes, we here rescue you.
They throw down a 10-pound sack of rice.
Masaya akong makita ka.
Ikaw rin, kaibigan. May padala palang isang sakong bigas si inay para sa'yo.
Salamat. Ipadala mo ang aking pagmamahal sa kanya. Ngayon ay pakisamahan mo na lang itong Amerikano pa uwi.
And DeBlanc is released from his cage.
And all it took was a 10-pound sack of rice. Much obliged, Chief. This here's the finest hotel I ever set foot in.
Pwede po bang akin na lang yung makislap na gamit mo, Lolo?
Estranghero, nais kong regaluhan ka ng sibat na pampaswerte. At ang aking anak ay nagtatanong kung maaari kang mag-iwan ng souvenir sa amin bilang iyong alaala.
He wants your buckle.
I remember what my intelligence officer told me. Never show fear when dealing with island natives, or it could be the death of you. Okay. But
DeBlanc marvels at his new acquisition, expertly decorated with bat teeth and wing bones. The natives bandage his wounds and bring DeBlanc to another island, where finally, on the 12th of February, just 3 days before his 22nd birthday, he's picked up by a Navy patrol bomber.
do you know if Jim Felton made it?
Bailed out. He's on his way home now. Are you alright?
Well, this was a crazy couple of weeks, man.
On December the 6th, 1946, he was invited to the White House and presented with the Medal of Honor by President Harry S. Truman for his skill and bravery in the Solomon Islands. He passed away in 2007 in his home state of Louisiana.